So it's been over 10 years since I was in the back of that van in that rock bottom place, as you guys probably know from my story by now. But at that point, I had to do an assessment and figure out, like, where are the areas that I'm weak and I'm struggling that if I was to figure out and turn around somehow and improve at, that they would change the trajectory of my life. And what I called them were my 4 spheres of influence. Because I'm lazy, I wanted to figure out what are those like very few number of levers that had the maximum impact. And I came to these 4, which were mindset, health, wealth, and skills. And I've shared this framework before on the podcast, and I've shared a lot about the wealth sphere in particular, because at that point in my life, that really was the sphere that I struggled with the most. The one that I struggled with the least, however, was health. At that point in my life, I was a professional rock climber in the years leading up to that moment. And I had been just living and breathing exercise and taking that very, very seriously. I was in incredible shape. And so of those 4 spheres, that was always the one that I did not struggle with. I did not need to put a lot of mental energy and bandwidth into it. Just kind of naturally took care of itself. I've always been very athletic. I was semi-professional snowboarder coming out of high school. I ran cross country and track in college. I've done martial arts my entire life. So like I had that one figured out. But the other 3, mindset in particular, wealth, and skills, I didn't have any valuable skills at that point. Those were the 3 that I really needed to buckle down on. And that's what I've been focusing on for the better part of the last decade. But now I'm old. Now I'm 38. I'm turning 39 in this year. And, it's the health side of things is starting to come more into focus, and it's starting to be a bigger pain point, because here's what ends up happening is you get older and you live in your yesteryear thinking like, oh, in the good old days, I could eat pizza. I could eat all this food. I could go work out. I would wake up and get 4 hours of sleep and I'd recover and it'd be all easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And at some point, your metabolism starts to slow down. Your body doesn't recover like it used to. You're not sleeping as good as you once did. And so, like, all these things start to compile until one day you wake up, you look around, and you think, man, I don't feel very good. Has it always been this way? Have I always felt like this? Is this new? And maybe you don't, but I did. This was my experience, at least. Like somewhere around the time of 35, 36, that's when I stopped rock climbing very seriously. I really hung up my mindset of I'm a professional athlete. Like that was the moment where I was like, I'm not really that anymore. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business person. That's where I focus, and I'm also fit and healthy. But I had shifted the identity from thinking, I am a upper echelon athlete to just being a person who's in good shape. And in that, then there was this slippery slope of eating poorly and working out less and less vigorously, and not taking care of my sleep hygiene, and all these things, what I call my 3 levers of energy, which is, your exercise, your nutrition, and your sleep. These are the 3 things that dictate your body and how it feels. Like your energy, if that is your most valuable asset, like it's all derived from this biological machine. And I had been doing a increasingly poor job of caring and tending for my machine. And about 3 years ago, it was 2019. It was going into 2020. I had been working really hard to get out of escape. This would have been 2020, end of 2020, going into 2021. I had worked really hard in that year to start building Invictus Capital, while also starting to build the systems and team in place so that I could exit escape climbing and give my full attention to Invictus. So it was a very hard year, compounded by the fact that it was also COVID. And I put on a lot of weight. And so for reference, I usually am like, when I'm in good shape, I'm like 175 pounds. It's very rare for me to get over 180, but suddenly I was 198. I was 198 pounds, which for me, that was a wake-up call moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm about to go over 200 pounds. And like weight's not a big deal, but it didn't look good in the mirror, and it didn't feel good, more importantly. Like I didn't feel good when I looked at myself. I wasn't proud. And so in working with my girlfriend, Jamie, we got my nutrition, we got my health, my eating, my exercise dialed in, and I got back down to 175, like within the span of a couple months. Did it. It was awesome. but it didn't last. We didn't maintain our healthy eating habits. I didn't maintain my level of activity. And so I started to balloon back up into the 185. And this is when I started jujitsu at the end of 2021. Yeah, 2021 is when I started jujitsu. Started taking that seriously. And I was floating at 185 very consistently. And I just hated how I felt. I still didn't like how I looked, but it was becoming like my new normal. I had started to accept that this was my life. Like 185 is my new normal. It used to be 175, but now 185 is. And somewhere along the way, I decided or had this realization or had exposure to somebody else, that was fit. They inspired me, and I thought, I want to look like that. Part of it was watching. Now that I think about it, I was watching Reacher with Jamie, and that guy's a big buff dude. And I thought, wait, he's old, he's jacked. Why can't I be old and jacked? Why? There's something about that paradigm shifted in that moment. And so last year in September, I started getting serious about my fitness and my health and my nutrition again. And I started working with a coach who put together my meal plans and all my workouts and just told me what to do. Jamie has been doing all my food prep and all that stuff. And all this is to say that a lot of really positive things started happening really quickly. So one is right now, I weigh like 167 pounds, which is like 20 pounds lighter. I'm lean, I'm strong, I feel so good. I love how I look when I look in the mirror. I sleep great. I have incredible levels of energy all throughout the day. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm at a weight now that I used to compete at when I was a climber. Like 168 was my competing weight. And I could only stay there for a little bit of time before I balloon back up to my training weight of like 172. And right now I feel phenomenal. And I bring this to you, I share this with you because what I've realized over these last 5 months or so is that there's levels to the game of how you feel. There's levels to this game of energy. And it can be very hard to look up and see the levels above you when you get, acclimated on the hedonic treadmill of where you are currently. It's very, very hard to see beyond where you are. And as you start to age, as you start to lose a little bit of what you used to have, you start to acclimate to the new normal. And one of the big epiphanies for me was that doesn't have to be true. That's a limiting belief. It doesn't have to be true. Getting old doesn't have to feel bad. I don't have to feel tired or lethargic or sore all the time. That's a choice. And so I've been getting really serious about going into 2023, this idea of optimization or becoming limitless. Like those are my words of the year. I don't know yet exactly which one I'm going to land on as the word, but those are two concepts that are playing into my mind right now. And I'm thinking about what does it mean to go all in on my health? Because one of my goals is to be in the best shape of my life by the time I hit 40, which I got 1.5 years to do. And that's a hard goal given like where I was starting when I was younger. I was in great shape. But I'm getting serious about it. And I'm diving into the nutrition, into the exercise, into the supplementation, even starting to explore the hormone replacement therapy. And I wanted to share with you guys some of what I call my health stack, or my Beyond the Apex health stack. And the reason I want to share this is because I was listening to a podcast a couple months ago that my buddy Sam Parr does called My First Million, which is like one of my favorite podcasts ever. And he broke this down. Like, we talk all the time about like what your tech stack is in your business and everything like that, but not so often do we talk about like your health stack. Like, what are you investing in to maintain your level of fitness and your health and everything? And I thought it would be really interesting to at least share what I'm working on here and like the different programs that I'm on, the different supplements and all that type of stuff. And that might be really in the weeds for a lot of people and they might not be very interested at all. But I know for me, like this would be, if I was in your shoes and I was listening to somebody else, like when I was listening to Sam, it was super inspiring. It was super interesting. And maybe it just gives you a new lens to look at your own personal health journey, because I think at the end of the day, like your health is everything. Like I used to say that Seneca said this, but somebody pointed out to me recently that it was not in fact Seneca. It was, somebody else. I can't remember who, but he said, the healthy man wants 1,000 things. The sick man wants but one. And so taking care of your body it's everything. So without further ado, let me take a sip of my tea. And then let's talk about my health stack. So real quick, from a high level, I work with a nutritionist. I work with a personal trainer. They put together my training program. I will lift heavy 4 days a week for about an hour in the mornings. That's on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And we go hard in the mornings. And then on Monday, on those same evenings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I do 2 hours of jujitsu. And one of those hours is a very hard roll. So on those 4 days, I'm doing about 3 hours of vigorous exercise, which I know for a lot of people is like way too much. You just don't have the time. I get that. And truthfully, you can probably get a lot of the benefits from just 1 hour of really hard exercise a day. For me, the jujitsu is, I'm also learning a skill while I'm doing that. And so that's just very interesting to me. And I'm in a place in my life where I have the freedom to schedule because I don't have kids. And so I can pour a lot into this, but I understand that, like, that's a ridiculous amount of exercise on a given day for most people. Anyways. So that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do cardio in the morning for 30 to 45 minutes. That's like some light running, some intervals, maybe some biking. And then in the evenings, I do 1 hour of light jujitsu. And then Sundays, I'll do a little bit of cardio or just take the entire day off. In terms of supplements, I'm on a lot, actually. I'm doing a lot. We eat very, very clean. I'm on a very macro regimented diet. So we count that out very, very strictly. But I've been doing a lot with supplements recently, just trying to like make sure that we are hitting everything from all the angles possible. So here are the list of supplements that I'm on. First is something called Life Greens, which is very similar to Athletic Greens, but it's just a knockoff version that my local gym does, called Life Greens, and it's great for probiotics for your gut, your gut biome. I take that about 2 times a day. The next one is Cortese, Corteaze. I recommend this for people that struggle with ADHD or just they're in jobs that have high stress. I do not manifest the psychological effects of stress. Stress doesn't really get to me, but it doesn't mean that your body's not feeling stress. And I did not realize how much stress my body was manifesting until I went on this, which is like it's like a cortisol management pill or supplement. And holy crap, my sleep is better, my energy level is better, my focus is better. Like, this is amazing. This is what Ritalin should have been for me, but I had very negative side effects with Ritalin, so we won't talk about that right now. But Cortese, I would highly recommend you guys check that out. It can be very valuable. We do creatine and Tonkat Ali, which is a way of it's like a natural herb or plant extract for enhancing energy, mood, stress, testosterone. Also on Fedosia, which is another way of improving testosterone. As I'm getting older, I'm becoming very aware. Like, after a male hits 35 years old, you start to see a pretty steady decline of testosterone over the years. And so that's just something that I want to stay on top of because it's such an important thing. Even started working with a local group up here for testosterone therapy. Have not actually started the injections or started that protocol or anything like that yet. We're still in the blood testing and kind of getting everything mapped out. But it's probably something that I'll be diving into in the first quarter of 2023 because, listen, I'm not competing professionally anymore. So like, I'm just trying to be the best version of me. I'm not trying to be like big and jacked and like become like this peak performer or anything. I just want to be the best, healthiest, most energized version of myself possible. And, I'm going to explore all the different avenues available to me. Next is Zinc Picoleante, which is, it's a way of helping these testosterone boosting supplements like the Tonkat Ali and the Fedosia to, I guess, bind and be more effective. And also zinc is really great for just like minimizing colds and the effects of like respiratory illnesses. Next, I got tyrosine, which is just great for increasing dopamine, really great for mood stabilization, increased motivation. We're on alpha GPC, a bunch of omega-3, a lot of omega-3s. And then a couple of things around digestion, like a Digestaid, an Optipure, Herbal Adrena Plus, which is for like adrenaline, like the effects of caffeine and trying to like mitigate that a little bit. But the Digestaid, spending a lot of time focusing on, okay, you're eating healthy and all these clean foods, make sure that your body is in a position to do the most with the nutrients it's getting. And so we invest pretty heavily into that as well. And that's kind of the stack that I'm on right now, to be honest. Like, that's the That's the protocol. Plus, getting a solid 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night. We invested heavily into a bunch of resources to help me start sleeping better in terms of supplements, in terms of a bed. We got an 8 sleep, which is a cooling bed, which was like one of the best purchases of my life. It's amazing. But that's how we're pulling all the different levers right now around energy, which are, again, you got your exercise, you got your nutrition, you got your sleep. And so seriously, if you're struggling, if you're in a place right now, you have low energy, low drive, low libido, low satisfaction, I recommend you go hard at this, because I remember just 7, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, how tired and foggy and unclear and different, how poor I felt by comparison to now. Like, my motivation, my drive, my purpose, my feeling of having a mission in life, everything is just so much better. And if that's not living a life of amplified impact, I don't know what is. And so I wanted to share this podcast with you guys today, because hopefully it gives you some things to think about. Maybe you're on the same journey. If you are, I would love to hear about it. So shoot a message, hit me up on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. I'd love to hear about your particular health stack and what are you doing right now to become the most optimized, limitless version of yourself. I truly would love to hear it, guys. And I appreciate you being here, taking some time to join me. As always, I know your time and your attention, your focus are your most valuable assets. And so the fact that you shared a little bit of it with me here today means a ton. I appreciate it. And as always, stay hyper-focused, my friend. I'll see you in the next episode.